It's one time me and a bunch of cheerleaders picked up two hitchhikers on the way to... So I've been doing this California sober thing. Girl on Tinder asked if that was just sober with avocado, which I thought was clever, but it's not. It means that I don't really dig alcohol that much, pretty much just weed and mushrooms and acid and DMT, occasional ketamine, maybe mescaline, but mostly just weed. I went down to Costa Rica very recently, and there was enough stuff in the headlines that made me think I'm not going to risk it to bring my own cannabis. I'll just buy it when I get there. You'd think pretty popular expat place, tropical, tourist destination. There's got to be someone selling weed. Then I got there. Turns out Tico weed is not very plentiful, not very good, and not very cheap. But I had mushrooms, so I ate those. And decided that while coming up on mushrooms, the best place to come up on mushrooms has got to be the Pacific coast of Costa Rica. So I got my towel and I walked to the beach. It's like a 5-minute walk, and it was great. Started noticing patterns in the sand that weren't really there. Feeling one with the surf, and the tide was out. And the waves were real churny. Decided to make a safe bet. Not going to go play in the water in this condition, And then I decided it was time to go back. I was going to touch base with the guys I was staying with. And it was a beautiful walk on the way back. There's this road that goes parallel to the beach, and there's a bunch of people that set up these pop-up market tables, and they're selling like real dumb shit, like beaded necklaces. There's also a bunch of tapestries and these big beach towels, and they're all very colorful, and they're all just kind of gently flowing in the breeze. And it was a really great, beautiful experience, especially while coming up on mushrooms. And so I'm just kind of sauntering back in the direction of the place I'm staying, and I heard someone go, "Psst." Now, similar things have happened to me like that while on mushrooms, and I thought, that's not for me, keep walking. But then I heard again, "Psst." So I turned around and I looked, and there's this beautiful Tico gentleman with like long curly hair, and he's stringing shells on a necklace or something, and he's like real casual, real chill, real cool. He looks around and he goes, and I was like, yes, absolutely. I walked up, said, how much? He said, $20. I was like, man, for what? And he goes, a gram. I was like, shit. I'll be back. So I went to the house and I got a $20 bill, and I came back to the beach, and this guy's gone. And I'm getting increasingly more high on mushrooms, starting to peak, and these beautiful colors and everything. This dude rides up on a bicycle like a 1990s radical movie, just like gravel and shit. And he's like, $20 for a gram. I was like, cool. And I pulled the 20 out. He snatches it and like pedals off super fast, and I'm sitting there on drugs thinking like, did I just get robbed? I decided to wait for a little bit. What felt like 5 or 6 hours, what was more likely about 15 minutes. Found a guy that I had seen this gentleman with, and I went up to him, and I don't think he speaks a word of English. At this point, I'm pretty sure I can speak Spanish, but I don't. So I'm just talking to this guy like, if your friend robbed me, just tell me so I can take the L and go home. Like, I don't care at this point. And he's like, no, he'll be back. At least I think that's what he said. But so I'm waiting around, and I'm starting to get lost in my own head again. These tapestries are just so beautiful and colorful, gently blowing in the breeze. And I'm looking sort of at them and through them, and like something out of a movie in slow-mo, I see this guy with the big, beautiful hair just like walking behind and amongst the tapestries, and he does this and disappears. So I walk over to examine where he was pointing, and sure enough, there's this little bag of weed. And I picked it up, and I thought, son of a bitch pulled through. And so yeah, I went back and got excited and reported to the guys what I had acquired, and we rolled a big old thick old hog leg joint. And where there's a will and a tripped out gringo, there's a weed.